everyone, welcome back to Learn English with Erica. Today we're going to do part one of a three-part series, and this is going to have to do with ordering at a restaurant, going into a restaurant to eat. So day one today, we're going to cover some of the common questions you might be asked when you walk into a restaurant. Day two is going to be some phrases and expressions you might want to know when you're in a restaurant, and day three is going to be a practice dialogue between a hostess, a server, and you, the customer. Okay, so let's get started for day one. Some common questions you might be asked when you enter any restaurant. And some of the words are going to be a little confusing. That's why these are so important. So the first one is, how many in your party? How many in your party? So how many, it's asking for a number of people who will be sitting down with you. In your party, it's not an actual party, it's just your group. So how many in your party means how many people are in your group. It might be 2, 3, you include yourself. So if it's you and one other person, 2 people in our party. The second question is, do you have a reservation? Do you have a reservation? So you don't need a reservation in all restaurants, but that just means, did you call the restaurant before coming here on a different day or earlier that day to ask for a special time to find your table to sit down and have your meal? So do you have a reservation? You can say yes or no, we don't. Okay, it does not mean that you have to have a reservation. It just is asking, did you? Did you have a reservation? The third question is usually from either the hostess, the person who sits you down at your table, or it could be from your server, the person who's going to bring you your food and take your order. So the first question they usually ask is, would you like something to drink? Would you like something to drink? And on the menu, sometimes there's a list of drinks that you can order. You could always ask, what kind of sodas do you have? Or do you have any specials? Or you could just say, I would like a water, please. Okay, anything that you would like to drink. And feel free to ask questions, because that is why the server is there, to answer your questions. The fourth question you might hear is, are you ready to order? Are you ready to order? That's asking, have you had enough time to look at the menu and decide what you would like to eat? Okay, so you can either say, yes, I will have this, or you can say it. You can just point to the menu too, that's okay. Or if you're not sure, you could either ask questions. You could say, I have a question, or I have a couple of questions. You could always also, if you need just more time, you can say, no, could we have a few minutes? No, could we have a few minutes? Okay, the next question. If you order something like eggs or steak or any kind of food that can be cooked in different ways. Okay, so they might ask, how would you like your cooked? So if they're asking, how would you like your steak cooked, we have well, like well done, medium well, medium, medium rare, and rare. Okay, well is the most cooked, rare is the least cooked, so pretty pink. I personally usually order medium because there might be a little bit of pink in there. I know it's not going to be cooked too much, but I know it's not going to be super bloody either. And eggs, if you're going to a restaurant in the morning, or if you just like eggs in the afternoon, they might ask, would you like them scrambled? In Spanish, we say revueltos. Or they might ask if you want them over easy. Then you'll have the yellow part, the yolk, a little bit runny. They might ask you fried, right? A fried egg. There's a poached egg, which people don't normally order at restaurants, I don't think. But that's what they're asking when they say, how would you like your whatever cooked? Okay, now if you order just a regular dish and there's no steak or eggs, then you won't have to answer that question. Also, before you order your main food, maybe when you're ordering your drinks, they might also ask, would you like an appetizer, or would you like any appetizers? Appetizers are those small dishes, the small plates that you might order before your bigger meal. Okay, you don't have to order an appetizer, but you can. A lot of people will order one appetizer for the whole table, all of the people to share. Okay, so you can say, no thank you, or yes, we would like to try, and then you can point, or you can say, we would like to try the mozzarella sticks, or we would like to try the chicken wings. Okay, they're usually smaller dishes. Sometimes people like to share them. Some people also order an appetizer as their main dish, and that's okay too. Okay, there's not really any rules when you go to a casual restaurant. Okay, you can order whatever you'd like from the menu because you are the one paying for it. Okay, so you order your main dish. You tell them, yes, I would like to order this, or I will have this, and you're eating. At the end, they might, or towards the end, they might ask, maybe towards the beginning, they'll ask you, or they should ask you, is everything okay? Is everything okay? They're asking, is your food okay? Do you like what you ordered? Do you need anything, right? Do you need ketchup? Do you need salt? Maybe it's not at the table. Do you need napkins? Do you need more of your drink? We call that a refill. Do you need a refill? Okay, so that's during your meal. And then at the end, they'll ask you, would you like any dessert, or would you like to try one of our desserts? The dessert is usually sweet. It comes at the end of the meal. You can say, no, thank you. We are so full. Okay, if you don't want dessert, or you could say, wow, that sounds great. Do you have a dessert menu? Do you have a dessert menu? And you can look, again, you can point at the picture, you can ask questions. Okay, so after you've decided whether or not you will eat dessert, the server might ask you, is there anything else I can get you? Is there anything else I can get you? So maybe you want something else to drink. Maybe you did not finish your meal and you would like a box to put your leftovers in. You can ask for that. And at the very end, the very last thing they will probably ask you is, how will you be paying? And they might not even ask. They might just leave your check on the table, and you can just leave a credit card or cash. Okay, but if they ask you, how will you be paying? You can say cash, which is just money, hard money. You can say, I'll be using a credit card. Or you can say, do you take Apple Pay? Maybe if you want to pay from your phone. Okay, so those are 10 questions you might be asked at a restaurant. And I also want to add at the end, when you're talking to someone in a restaurant, some of the polite expressions or polite words are very useful here. So don't forget to say please and thank you. And if you want to get someone's attention in the restaurant, so if you need something and your server has not been over to the table to ask you what you need, you can say, excuse me, okay? Here in the United States, we don't typically snap. That's considered rude, so you don't want to snap to get someone's attention. You can just say, oh, excuse me. And if you don't want something, you can say, no, thank you. So yes, please, and no, thank you. All right, I hope those were helpful. Join me tomorrow for day 2 of your restaurant practice. We will be going over some common expressions that you can use when you're sitting in a restaurant. Have a good day.